Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another week with Otis Kirk as the Arkansas football recruiter. Otis, I see you're down there here in Fayetteville, Arkansas this week for that softball championship, but let's get to the football. Taylor Lewis, the 2022 defensive tackle, will be here this week, right? Wednesday through Friday, I believe?
Yes. He's from College of the Canyons, a junior college player. Arkansas has one of his 5 visits. He's at Oregon State this weekend. He's already visited Washington State. He has Nebraska and Missouri to see after he's at Arkansas. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they've got one scholarship remaining here in the class of 2022, and they wanted interior defensive tackle, obviously. And he's from Chicago originally, CJ, but he played at College of Canyons out in California.
Okay.
This season, he played in 6 games, missed some with injury, but he had 18 tackles, 7 solo tackles, 1.5 for loss, and then 1 pass breakup. And he's got a lot of offers, but those are his 5 visits. Like I said, he's been to Washington State. He's at Oregon State this weekend. Arkansas would love to wrap him up when he comes here, wrap his recruiting up. But he says he's going to visit Nebraska and Missouri, so we'll have to see. But that is what they want to do with that other scholarship, is give it to Taylor. We've talked about they're going to try to sign another interior defensive lineman, and he's right now, that's the one they're targeting. And he is a JUCO, not a transfer portal kid.
Look forward to seeing him play. What about this new thing in the NCAA? The 25 yearly limit will be removed for 2 years. How big is this coming into play for the NCAA these next 2 years, Otis?
Well, as I told you off the air, CJ, this is one of the few things the NCAA has ever done that I think they got it right. I think what this is. Let me explain this to people. You're allowed 85 scholarships total on football. You can have 85 kids on scholarship at one time. You can't go over that, and that's not changing. But here's what's happened. If you limit somebody to 25 scholarships a year, let's say they have 20 seniors and 20 kids go in the portal. Mm-hmm. You lose 40 kids, you're down to 85. You're down to 45 scholarship players. Then you bring in the 25 new ones. You're at 70. Well, you're still 15 scholarships short. Think about 2 or 3 years of that. You're going to be playing with and there was no way to get back to that 85 as long as you were limited to 25 scholarships a year. You could never get back up to 85. And and maybe 20 is an extreme, but let's say you have 15 seniors and 15 kids getting a transfer portal, and say 2 kids go to the NFL early. Well, see, that's 32 scholarships gone. That gets you down under 85. That gets you down to, on 32, gets you down to 53. Then you sign 25 new ones. That gets you to 78. You're still 7 short. So what they've done, and this is same as basketball and most other sports. Basketball has no yearly limit. Eric Musselman's brought in 11 new players this year. They have a 13 overall scholarship limit, just like football has 85, and they can sign however many players. They can sign 13 if they want to. And now football, if you get down, let's say you have 40 openings, you can sign 40 kids instead of being limited to 25. But once again, you've got to stay at the 85 cap. That's just like basketball. Eric technically can sign 13 kids, but he's got to stay at the 13 limit. He can't go over that. And so that's what they're doing. And with the transfer portal, where every school loses player, every school, not just, people focus on Arkansas because that's what we see here, but it's every school in the country. And you've got to be able to play with 85 because you're getting injury risk. If you putting kids out there too much, playing every snap and stuff, and on special teams, it's a safety deal too, but it just doesn't make sense to limit you to 25 when you could lose. When you could technically, you could lose 40 or 50 kids in one class, between the portal and graduations and kids going to the NFL early or getting hurt and having to take a medical hardship. So you just can't play anymore. They have to retire. This allows you to make up for all of that and get to 85. So I think it's a great rule. I'm surprised they did it to some degree. But it's going to be a good rule. And people, it's just, there'll probably be some players run off to get other players in, but that's happening anyway. It's one of the drawbacks on it, but that stuff's happening anyway. So it's not like this is going to cause that to happen, But the good thing is schools can play with a full scholarship total. They don't have to make up for 15 to 20 scholarship players short on a team right now.
So again, people, 25 yearly limit will be removed for the next 2 years for the entire NCAA. This could be good for Arkansas moving forward. And speaking of Arkansas, Mattlanders committed to the University of Arkansas this week, Otis.
Yeah, shortly after we did the show last week. Right. Shortly after we got off the air recording this, everybody knows this is recorded. We recorded it, and he committed shortly after. I knew he was going to commit. I didn't know when. And he did it shortly after we got off the air. But yeah, this is a kid, a wide receiver, 6'5", 200 from the transfer portal. Came from Toledo. He originally played at Georgia. He actually played against Arkansas in Sam Pittman's first game. And we talked about him on here. We talked about him pretty length last. But he got 20 catches for 514 yards and 5 touchdowns at Toledo last year. This is the guy they're going to play with Jaden Hazelwood, and he gives them 2 older receivers in the room, CJ, to help to make up for the loss of Traylon Burks, Davion Warren, Tyson Morris, and those guys. And even John David White went into the transfer portal, ended up at UCLA. So this gives them a chance to have some older receivers to mix in with the younger guys. And both of these are proven guys at the Power 5 level. They're proven guys there. He played 25 games at Georgia. He was just at Toledo one season. But this is going to be a nice addition for Arkansas. And he is, listen, the 6'5", 200, he is legit. This kid's big. I mean, he is tall. I've seen him in person, and he is very tall.
6'5", 200 is what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
6'5", 200, and actually got pretty good speed. And he's the type, too, that can go up and win the 50-50 balls. KJ can throw it up, and he can go get them.
6'5", 200. I'm looking forward to these Razorback wide receivers this next year. Stevens and the young guy, Ketron Jackson. I'm looking forward to this wide receiver team this year as well. So to add to that wide receiver room is going to be very, very special for the Razorbacks moving forward.
It is.
All right, for 2023, the defensive end to Darius Collins got offered from the University of Arkansas. How big is that offer?
It was big. He got the offer Friday. We put a story up on Hogville and Pig Trail Nation that day, shortly after the offer was extended. He's 6'4", 250. He's 2023 class. He's got offers. He's got 19 offers, but among them are Baylor, of course, Arkansas, but Baylor, Mississippi State, Missouri, Louisville, Kansas State, Minnesota, Indiana. He's got some SEC offers. He's got Big Ten. He's got, a little bit of everything here, and he's And he told me he is definitely going to visit Arkansas. He loves Coach Keith Jones and Deke Adams. Big Glitch is the helper on the defensive line with Deke, and so he's really he's getting a good relationship with those guys. And Taylor Lewis told me the same thing. Both Deke and Keith are doing a very good job of developing relationships with these defensive line recruits, CJ. And that's important. And that's something Sam Pittman really preaches, is develop a relationship. He said recruiting is about relationships, and that, and Sam is a firm believer of that, and he does a good job of that himself, but he wants his assistants to do the same thing, and by all accounts, they all are. I mean, I know guys but I keep hearing this from every defensive line recruit I talk to. Deke, and they call him Big Glitch, but Keith Jones is that's his Twitter name. But both those guys, they do a good job developing relationships, and if you can do that, you'll get your share of players. And Arkansas's got two defensive line commitments in 2023 right now, and they're probably going to sign 4, 5, or 6. I mean, it's going to be a pretty big number there. They need to, and who knows, with the 25 off, they may sign 6 or 7. I mean, they're going to try to stock up on defensive linemen. I can tell you, they're not going to turn down one they think can help them, regardless of how many numbers there is. I mean, that's a priority position in this class. I think it's one result, CJ, if they've changed coaches on the defensive line every year. That's got to stop, and maybe it will with Deke Adams here. And get some continuity there, like you have on a lot of these, like you have at running back, like you have at the offensive line, like you have at linebacker coach. I know Mike is starting his second year as linebacker coach, but it is his second year, and he's really done a good job of stop calling that in his second year. And that's what you get when you get a little continuity there with assistants. And hopefully this D-line situation is worked out now, and it'll stay that way. And we'll just have to see. But I know Deke did a great job at South Carolina, man. He had those guys that were drafted up there really high. One of them was first pick of the draft, So but we'll see. But anyway, yeah, that's going to be a priority in this class is quarterback and defensive line. I mean, they got to get some numbers at defensive line.
They just added one. They're going to add some more here in the future. But last question for you out here, Otis. I know you got to go. How big is that defensive end, Collins, coming in? Well, that one that got offered.
Well, it's big. I mean, he's going to take a visit, and see what things are, and that's how you get these kids. You go on campus and let them see the campus, and they fall in love with it. I'm going to tell you, I think they've got a great shot at both those defensive linemen we talked about today, Taylor Lewis and Darius Collins. Darius Collins. Yeah. I think you've got both those kids. I think they've got a great shot at both of them. I'll be surprised if they don't get them. Now, some people think Lewis might be a Nebraska lean, but we'll see. I think once he gets on campus here at Arkansas, I think that's going to do it. And that's why I say get them on campus. You let them see this place, they fall in love with it. CJ, I mean, there's a lot here to fall in love with, and they pointed out that Fayetteville was voted the #1 city in the SEC.
Well, I was asking how big in height and weight he was.
You talking about Collins? He's 6'4", 250. I'm sorry.
Oh, 6'4", 250. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, 6'4", 250. I'm sorry, I thought how big he was getting to visit. Okay. Well, both of them. He's 6'4", 250. He's big, and it's big to get to visit. So maybe that answers your question.
That's my question. I appreciate it, Otis. Go ahead and get back out there to softball, man. I know you got a whole lot of stuff to get to, and the Razorbacks looking to close it out here for the Fayetteville Regional. Looking forward to getting to the Super Regional. So, Otis, go ahead and get back out there. I appreciate you, man. We'll see you guys next week with another Arkansas Football Recruiting Report.